We begin CBS2 News at 5 with breaking news. An arrest in connection with a break-in at the Calabasas Community Center.
CBS2's Dave Lopez is live with what he's learning about a possible connection to a murder. Dave?
Well, Susie, this is the big if. Now, right now, we want to be very cautious. We've been able to confirm that an arrest has been made based on information that detectives were able to gather yesterday about that Calabasas break-in at the community center. Now, we've always been able to report through sources that the detectives, the deputies out there, were looking for a man with a long rifle, and they believe that he may be connected to the killing that took place at that campsite last June. They have very clearly said that if they caught that man, if they caught the man who was burglarizing for food, they may have a key connection. Now, they're going to have a news conference tonight, the detectives, at 7 o'clock, so maybe there's more to this story than what they're telling us right now. But let's go to some video that was shot just a little while ago in Malibu. The arrest, I am told, was made late this afternoon. The man was on foot in the wilderness when the detectives caught him. Now, he was not far from that Malibu Creek State campground, I am told, and they have evidence, I am told, that connects him to what happened yesterday at the Calabasas Community Center. We do not have his name. We do not have anything about him other than that he was out in the wilderness on foot and that he could be connected to as many as 5 such break-ins. You're now looking at the Calabasas Community Center, where yesterday morning at 3 o'clock in the morning, someone broke a window with a rock and then helped himself as he broke the machines and the vending machines and helped himself to a lot of food. Again, that was the 5th time that has happened in that area, we are told. Now, one of those break-ins for food occurred on September 30th, and that was the night that the detectives were able to get security video that clearly showed a man dressed in Army fatigues head to foot, and he had a long rifle with him. And that's what piqued their interest, and that's what really set this investigation in high gear, because why would he have such a rifle if all he was doing was stealing food? There had also been reports of shots fired in the canyon area. All this is connected, or at least they're trying to connect us, to a murder that took place at a campsite. Tristan Baudet was camping with his 2 little girls last June 24th. He was in the tent when he was shot and killed by a bullet. Now, again, we don't know if they can connect that or not. All we know is that a burglary suspect is in custody right now. More details, we are told, will be coming tonight at 7 o'clock. And, of course, we will bring you more details tonight on the 8 o'clock news on KCAL 9. For now, I'm Dave Lopez reporting live. Back to you in the studio.
Florida pounded by ferocious wind and rain as a monster named Michael brutalizes the panhandle. People woke up to learn that overnight it had grown to the most powerful hurricane to hit the U.S. mainland in nearly 50 years.
Well, Hurricane Michael came ashore with 155-mile-per-hour winds. The Category 4 storm was just 2 miles per hour shy of a catastrophic Category 5. The powerful winds ripped off rooftops and sent debris flying.
Now, this is a live look at the radar. Michael is still a very powerful storm. It's expected to remain a hurricane as it crosses into Georgia tomorrow, despite making landfall this morning. Well, more than 375,000 people were urged to evacuate as Michael closed in.
That's right. Tonight, the Hurricane Center warns life-threatening storm surge and catastrophic winds continue. We have team coverage tonight, including CBS2's Crystal Cruz, monitoring the very latest from the newsroom.
But we begin with CBS2's Garth Kemp, who is tracking the storm's path. Garth?
Yeah, we've already seen a lot of tornadic activity associated with it as Michael has come obviously on the shore. We've seen in metro Atlanta, they have picked up tornadic activity. They're on the filthy side of this hurricane. You can see it as it continues to move through and clear out of Panama City. That has been the good news, at least for Panama City. They're starting to pull away from the worst part of it. It's speed at about 14 miles an hour, but you can see it's across 75 up towards 85, heading just southeast of Atlanta over the next couple of hours. It will eventually find itself over the Carolinas and then back offshore. Yet again, about another 12 to 24 hours max, it should drop out of hurricane status. But it has been vicious. It has rolled on. We've talked about the storm surge, heavy thunderstorm activity associated with this, the high winds. You get to the point like that, it's almost enough to blow cinder block over. And that's what they build with down in the south to fight hurricanes. We have shear walls. They build with cinder block. That's what they've learned over the years. But you can see just the swath of this as it continues to press up into Atlanta. These outer bands are the problems. That's where you get the strongest thunderstorms. We'll have more coming up, plus our weather in just a little bit. Back to you, too.
All right, Garth, thank you. A Hurricane Michael is leaving a path of destruction in its wake. President Trump issued a major disaster declaration.
And CBS2's Crystal Cruz joins us live from the newsroom with the latest on this. Crystal.
Pat, Hurricane Michael is now a deadly storm. Tonight, there is one confirmed death after a man was hit by a falling tree in Gadsden County, Florida. Michael crashed ashore near Mexico Beach, Florida, as one of the most powerful storms to ever hit the U.S. mainland, just shy of a Category 5 hurricane. 155-mile-per-hour winds lashed at the coast, ripped apart structures, and sent debris flying at a hotel in Panama City. Elsewhere, Michael snapped trees like toothpicks, peeled siding off buildings, and ripped off roofs. Across the region, it downed trees and power lines, knocking out electricity to more than 280,000 customers. Forecasters say Michael will dump more than a foot of rain and usher in a 14-foot storm surge in some areas.
When that storm surge comes in, you have no control of it. There's so much pressure, and it pushes everything in, and then it sucks everything out.
For some people who didn't evacuate, panic set in.
I might not be here tomorrow, man. That's it. I really don't want to cry on your camera, but this is what we got to deal with.
FEMA Administrator Brock Long updated President Donald Trump on the storm in the Oval Office. Long says the hurricane's eye, shown here from the International Space Station, is large and dangerous.
Some people may say it's similar to an EF3 tornado making landfall.
Michael is expected to remain powerful as a Category 1 or 2 hurricane as it passes through Georgia. Forecasters say it is unlike any storm ever seen before. And tonight, Florida's governor says the focus has turned to search and rescue as the storm moves on and things start to settle down. Pat and Susie, back to you.
All right, Crystal, thank you. And coverage of Hurricane Michael continues throughout this newscast, including a live report from Florida at 5:30.
This seems like a hurricane, but actually it is a bloodbath on Wall Street.
Yeah.
The Dow plunged a whopping 800 points today.
It is the worst loss in 8 months. Tech stocks took the hardest hit.
Well, CBS2's Sandra Mitchell is here with more on today's big loss. Hi, Sandra.
Hi. Yeah, investors just bailing out of the market today. They're calling it the October slump, the biggest since February. Real concern about rising interest rates and the continued trade conflict with China. Well, that group was cheering at the close, but today was the Dow's worst one-day decline since a drop of more than 1,000 points, but that was way back in February. This slide actually started last week, and the Dow has dropped more than 4.6% since its recent peak. By the end of the trading day today, most investors were thinking, just make it stop. So let's go ahead and take a look at those final numbers right now. The Dow down more than 831 at the close. The NASDAQ down more than 315. President Trump talked about it today.
I think the Fed has gone crazy. Actually, it's a correction that we've been waiting for a long time. But I really disagree with what the Fed is doing.
So that ends the worst day for U.S. stocks in more than 8 months. Some analysts say no need to panic. These rises and drops, they say, are inevitable. A lot of people, though, concerned about their 401s after what happened today. The word from Wall Street, there's no reason really to freak out. Susie.
Sandy, thank you. A knife-wielding man is dead after being shot by Ventura County Sheriff's deputies in Thousand Oaks. They responded to a single-car crash on Hillcrest Drive early this morning. Investigators say when they approached, the driver pulled out a knife. They asked him to drop it. He refused. Then they shot him with the beanbags. That didn't work either, and that's when they used lethal force.
Do you think this is a case of suicide by cop?
We're not sure. At this point, anything is possible, but it's way too early to tell what the motivation for the incident was.
The man died at the scene. His name has not been released.
A former boxing champ accused of raping a woman in Ventura County pleaded not guilty to sexual assault charges. Victor Ortiz declined to comment as we caught up with him after his court appearance in Ventura this morning. He's charged with 3 felony sexual assault charges. The 31-year-old is accused of assaulting a woman in an Oxnard home back in March. Prosecutors will not say what the relationship was between Ortiz and the alleged victim.
They're difficult cases for everyone involved because, you know, a victim has to come into court and talk about the worst thing you could ever have to talk about in front of strangers. It's a terrible thing to have to do.
3 years ago, Ortiz was arrested after being accused of beating up a fan at the Rose Bowl. He is due back in court on December 3rd.
We're getting our first look tonight at the woman accused of running down and killing a 14-year-old girl in San Bernardino. 55-year-old Charlene LaRue Welch appeared via a TV monitor in court today. She pleaded not guilty to vehicular manslaughter. 14-year-old Jade Maldonado was walking to Pacific High School when she was hit by an SUV last month. Witnesses say the SUV never stopped and Jade died later that day. Jade's parents attended the hearing but were too overcome to speak. Her mother wore a button with her daughter's photo on it. The judge increased Welch's bail to $500,000.
An arrest this morning in that deadly limo crash that killed 20 people in New York. State troopers arrested the son of the company's owner. Naaman Hussein is charged with criminally negligent homicide. Hussein ran the company while his dad is in Pakistan. Investigators say the limo had numerous safety violations and should never have been on the road. The driver ran a stop sign. His wife defended her dead husband.
I overheard him say, "I'm not going to drive this like this. You need to give me another car." I feel for these victims. I feel for them. I am in no way trying to make it seem like it's about me or my husband. I just want my husband to be vindicated.
The driver did not have the proper license.
Keeping swimmers safe from sharks off our coast. The new shark detection system put into place. We're going to show you how it all works.
I'm Jim Hill live at Chavez Ravine, where the Dodgers are getting in one final practice session before going back to Milwaukee to open up the National League Championship Series. Coming up next, we will hear from Dodger manager Dave Roberts, and that's in sports.
And we continue to track that breaking news out of Florida, where Hurricane Michael has made landfall as a Category 4 storm. Garth Kemp will be back.